Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Tuesday night flight. I am the Midnight Rider. I am joined tonight by the big guy KG, by the boss man BJ, and we make up 3/5 of the Sideline Junkies and the Sideline Junkies Network. How's everything going, fellas?
Pretty good, man. I mean, shit, ain't nothing wrong. It's cold, so ain't nothing wrong with the fifth right about now. But
it's freezing. It ain't cold.
Oh, this is perfect. Oh my god, I love this.
It's freezing. That's how
Great. When I finish this, I'm gonna turn my fan on. Perfect.
Now, I'll turn the fan on, but it's freezing outside.
This is perfect. Oh,
it's cold out there.
this is sweatshirt weather.
Woo. And that's what I thought. Now I went outside in the sweatshirt. Now it was immediate. Everything I had planned today, I had to shift it. I had to nope, not today. Not doing that. Nope. Whole bunch of nopes. Nope, not doing it.
Every now and then that wind will catch you.
Man.
Every now, I was working next to a main road, so all the wind from the cars is hitting me today. I'm just like this all day. Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, they can have that.
Now it was one morning, I think it was like 25 or whatever, and I got this sweater I wear when if it's under 40, I'm normally wearing a sweater from like 40 to about 30, and then from 30 down, I wear my Columbia. Yeah, the way that wind hit, I was like, we gotta pop the trunk. I went in the trunk, grabbed the Columbia out. Yeah. But ain't very often. I'm a cold weather guy, so that's the difference.
You got to talk about that. You got to talk about that initial, because I do that too. You got to talk about that initial 15, 20 seconds where you got to get that cold out of that jacket. But you put it on, you know it's going to be worth it in about 30 seconds. But that 20 seconds of that accumulation of cold that has been sitting in the car.
Man, what? It was like a woo, oh. Yes. Yeah, but once you get that out, you good, man. And see, I don't like being hot, so I can't. Like, I won't have my heat on and my big coat on, so that's just me.
I just don't put the coat on when I'm driving because I got the heat on, and the only reason why I got the heat on down low because I got to keep my knees warm. If I don't keep my knees warm, I ain't going nowhere.
And you keep talking about taping your ankles and playing somewhere. Some knees already let you know.
Hey,
I've had to keep my knees warm since I was 15, man. Knees got to stay warm. If the knees stay warm, everything else stay warm. You get this work to be knees warm.
Yeah, that's if they warm. That's if they warm.
Exactly.
Say what?
You said you get this work if these knees warm. What work we offer?
We talking about playing.
Oh my goodness.
Goodness gracious.
Even V. Williams say it's cold, man. Jeez.
She don't like the cold. Yo, between her, the person that's the worst is her son. I'd never forget. He came up here for he was supposed to be here a week. The news came on Thursday, said there was gonna be snow. It was Wednesday. Thursday morning by 8:30, I got a phone call. Hey, I'm on the plane going to Atlanta. Like, dog, you just got here. He was like, yeah, but they said snow and I don't mess with snow. I was like, all right, I get it. But yeah, the Williams family does not do cold weather at all. I'm sorry. I just distracted us a little
No, because we talking about the cold, so it's right. But let's jump off in this thing. Yesterday, we the new era began yesterday officially. Dan Quinn had his introductory press conference, and in said press conference, it was announced that before said press conference, he talked to Eric Bieniemy and said, "We won't work together here. I wish you nothing but the best, but you got to go." Maybe not in all those words, but most of that was him.
He said
So
he gone. He gone.
Eric Bieniemy was let go out of last year his contract. He'll probably collect that last season. Immediately after that news broke, Cliff Kingsbury was hired as OC. A lot of people are upset about that outside of DC. I think it was Stephen A was saying, you weren't that great of a college coach. You were a terrible head coach. How did you get this OC job?
Because it's not a head coaching job. Like people act like the coordinator position isn't a cesspool of incestuous behavior. Like coaches will go from being a head coach, and because they coach with somebody, they'll get either a coordinator job or they'll get a position job. Let's talk about Joe Burry. Joe Burry's in Miami right now. Guess what he's doing? He's coaching linebackers and he's doing the run game for who? Mike McDaniels. How does he know Mike McDaniels? Because of the Shanahan tree. These trees all have limbs that connect. I think the funny thing to me is people keep acting like, oh, this dude gets fired. He should never coach in the NFL again. Well, he got too many friends and too many people that's gonna make sure he eat. So you're not getting these coaches. And the problem with Bieniemy is his tree or his line doesn't have many other branches right there where he's connected. So he may go to Vegas to be the OC, but I thought Vegas just hired somebody. So yeah, it's difficult when you're on the wrong side of the tree. And part of your tree is closed up. I mean, the Chiefs closed up what they had because they moved Nagy to the OC.
Well, you talk about Eric Bieniemy and what tree he's on. If you went back to the roots of it, he coached under Reed. If I'm not mistaken, he coached under Reed in Philly and as well as Kansas City, correct?
Okay.
So that puts him on the Mike Holmgren tree, which puts him on the Bill Walsh tree.
Now you didn't jump too many trees back. You didn't jump back too many trees because now you're trying to get on trees. See, the other night when you did that show and you saw about Cam Cameron and all those guys, you can't jump back to that tree. That tree don't exist no more.
I was about to say the same thing. Trees die off.
Yeah.
Trees die off. So.
And who's the last? Let's think about it. The last Andy Reid guy is McDermott. And McDermott just who else?
No. Nagy and Cully.
He's got a job in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Stick with me. Stick on them. Stay. You gotta be where your feet are, KG.
I got you. I mean, I'm understanding, but I'm saying is what the way it used to go when you talked about coaching trees is, like they would trace the coaching tree all the way back, like, oh, he was on Sid Gilman's coaching tree, and I'm like, okay, but because he had those roots all that lace back all the way to Sid Gilman, and most coaching trees lace back, they all go back to Sid Gilman, who probably has the largest coaching tree in NFL history. That got you a job. But even if you go back just to say, oh, he was on Andy Reid's tree. I mean, Andy Reid has a lot of good assistants. But
none of them are head coaches right now. That's the difference.
For
The only one that's a head coach is McDermott.
And Harbaugh.
They have, and McDermott
okay,
have their offensive coordinators.
Right.
Yeah.
He's in a spot where he's pinched. He's going to have to become a position coach, or he needs to sit back, play some golf, and enjoy the year. Go somewhere like NFL Live or maybe NFL Network and see if he can get a job for a couple months talking about football.
And I think this is where we're going to see if, some of the rumors that we hear about Eric Bieniemy are true, because if he's tough to work with, he's not going to get those jobs. He's not going to get an analyst job talking. And I mean, it's plenty out there. It's plenty of things out there. I would just take the year off. Golf, do what you're going to do, maybe see what comes up next year. I just think that Washington was make or break for him. And I don't even think – I would be surprised if he gets another old coordinator position. I'm with the Midnight Rider. I think it'll be a position, running backs, something like that. It's going to be downgraded. It's up to him if he wants to deal with it. But I think his best time to get the head coaching job was, a couple years ago maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's over. There won't be any more Eric Bieniemy talk for a head coach. That's completely over. So he has to, kind of deal with that and figure out, like we just said, if he wants to be a position coach or where he goes from here.
And I mean, the cycle is vicious. Go ahead. I'm sorry, KG.
No. Go ahead. You're right. Because it's kind of funny. Go ahead. Go. You go.
Okay. I was going to say the cycle is funny because, I mean, if you think about it, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we had Byron Leftwich in coaching conversations. He has the conversation or the thing with the Jaguars where he challenges Trent Baalke, says it's Baalke you and me. The Jags stick with Baalke. They bring in somebody, they think bring in Doug Peterson to coach that team. And now Leftwich is completely out of the cycle. And it's another reason he's another one of those guys where he was a Bruce Arians guy. And Arians' tree is closed up because they went and got Canales. And I forgot who they had before that, but that tree kind of closed up. So you can't like it was sometimes the people that you around that you coach with, some of those things, those opportunities higher level, they get clogged up. So now you got to go back down and take a step back. And I would love to see Byron in the league, but I don't even think he's going to be another person that's going to be back in the league.
That's absolutely true. And what I was going to say was, if you think about it, remember that time years ago? It seemed like it was shorter, but it was years ago. Remember, you had Russ Grimm. Right. Was every coaching cycle he was always mentioned, and you always get coaching cycles where guys are mentioned. Oh, they're the hottest assistant and this, that, and other, but they never get a job. They never get a job, and I think that's what happened to Bieniemy, and I think his window closed. So
it ain't closed. It's locked. They done put a board over top of it. Yeah.
And I don't
you gotta keep out sign on the front of it.
I don't ever think he had a full window to begin with. He had a basement window. He had a window and a horror movie looking out, trying to get out. And
was it slide?
Now one of them ones, them old 30 windows where you gotta pop the thing and pull out. And you a baby can barely get out of that. So
you talking about the windows we used to have in school?
Yes, sir.
Goodness.
And then there are iron bars on the other side of the window. So
shit. Well, I got to do this because if I didn't do this, it wouldn't be right. We talked about coaching trees a few minutes ago. Brian Dable is on Sid Luckman's coaching tree. Okay. He's the last group on Sid Gilman's coaching tree.
But I mean, that's I love how you always like to. I don't know what it is about you, man. You probably got some. You probably still got your Thriller jacket somewhere in the closet. But it's you talking about Dable. I mean, if you want to bring up an old coach, the dude that used to coach the Giants, was it McAdoo? He's back in the league getting a coaching job. He's on somebody's offensive staff this year. All of a sudden, like they bring these guys back because they have these relationships. And let's not even get it twisted, because some of these dudes done married somebody else's daughter, and that's how they in the family. You know what I'm saying? You think about guys like Wes Phillips. You think about Sean McVay. I mean, it's not McVay. It's somebody else. It's another one of those guys in that line. But there are a lot of guys that married like somebody's daughter, and that keeps them in the league.
And then the other flip side of it, sometimes you want to go with guys that they know your way.
Exactly.
Do things how you want practice. You don't have to teach them your language and your philosophy and stuff. And some of that, and then like the Midnight Rider just said, a lot of it's politics too. Politics everywhere.
Yes. Now let me ask you a question. I asked y'all gentlemen this question yesterday. You said content, Midnight Rider. So I'm not going to answer. I gave my answer. I'm going to ask you gentlemen the question. With Cliff Kingsbury being hired, you potentially may draft a quarterback at 2. Then you have a potential situation for a veteran backup to come in. You still have Sam Howell. If Sam Howell is on this roster week 1 of 2024, This will be his third offense that he's been in 3 years. If he's on this roster in 2024, week 1, not preseason, not OTAs, week 1, regular season, has he officially been Jason Campbell? Thanks for taking my call. I'm going to hang up and listen.
Go ahead, B.
I mean, it's a fair comparison. I don't think anybody that doesn't have stability. I mean, you know, Sam showed flashes this year, but it's all about stability and learning a system. And I think the more you bounce around, and you know, this is when good coaching comes in, and you kind of, we say that all the time, you evaluate your talent, what y'all been doing, and how I'm going to integrate that into what y'all been doing. And then we'll add a few more wrinkles here and there. And then as the season goes along, we'll start adding pages to the playbook or my playbook to what you already know. That way it's an easier transition. They have to make a decision. Is either he can't be, if he's on the roster week 1, he's starting. If they draft a quarterback, he has to go. That's just my opinion. If they draft a quarterback, I'm kind of torn between that. He has to go, but that's a fair comparison. I'll agree with the Jason Campbell comparison because that sounds like what it is. And we still ain't even talked about Dan Quinn.
We'll get there, but let's go ahead and address the Howell situation for you. Well, Howell has, from his college days, his senior year in college, he has some connections to the philosophies of the Kingsbury offense, the air raid system. So he's not technically going to learn a whole new system again. It'll be him just adding on to stuff, and there may be a tweak in terminology, but he's going to have some of that in the database already. So it's not like he's starting from the ground up to get into this situation. The B side of that is, I mean, he's showing you that he can play. So, I mean, why not? He'll be a cheaper backup. Like, why spend $8 million on a Brissett or $10 million on somebody else when you can just spend the $540,000 or whatever his third year of his deal is? You're still in money right now. There's no need to pay that tax when you don't have to. The only way I move Sam Howell is somebody calls me up and they knock my socks off. They say, hey, we love with Sam Howell. We'll give you a second or a third. I don't see that happening. But if somebody did that, you take a 5th round pick, flip them for a 3rd round pick. Okay, maybe I'll trade them then. And then I'll go into the basket, the bargain basement basket of backup quarterbacks and bring somebody in to sit down with them and talk to them. But other than that, you still got Jake Fromm sitting around here somewhere. It depends on the evaluation process. You might go get a better 3rd guy. I wouldn't doubt that Peters wants a better 3rd guy because he's been in San Francisco and they've ended up with 3 quarterbacks themselves a lot of years. So I think he's going to want a quality third quarterback.
Okay.
Can I answer your question, caller? I mean, I just want to make sure I got everything.
Yes, you did. I just wanted to hear what you had to say. I mean, I had my feelings, but I wanted to hear what you had to say. Now, on to the meat and potatoes of the topic. Dan Quinn, his philosophy, he said, if you look at his defensive tapes from, I think, Seattle to Atlanta to Dallas, you see he's changed his defensive philosophy of the way he does things. So you can expect something to be more up-tempo and physical. I mean, boss, I can't really ask you, are you excited about something different on the defense in DC? But I'll ask anyway. Does his press conference excite you and kind of, I guess I would say, motivate you more towards what's to come? Give you some optimism.
I'm gonna give you just a quick. This is a D+ hire for me. This is what this is. This is we couldn't get the guy we wanted, and we had to fish and find a guy. We're looking at a new coach His defense just got smoked by the Packers at home. Smoked. Okay? This is what this is. He's going to have to prove that it's just like it feels like a hybrid Ron Rivera. That's what this feels like to me. Maybe he's a better motivator. Maybe he, can do a little bit more in-game adjustments. But this just seems like a 8 and 9 guy to me. Maybe 10 and 7 at the best. This is what this is. I just don't see this working. I'm not excited. This isn't who they wanted. So I'm not excited. When I saw the name, I was just like, this is okay. This is what we're doing. Somebody got to coach the damn thing. You might as well have promoted Bieniemy and let him coach for a year until you can find who you want it. Because this is, I don't know. This like I said, this isn't the guy. The guys they wanted, for whatever reason, didn't want to be here.
I have a totally different perspective on this. And I think it's just what I've seen, what I've read. I thought Ben Johnson and McDonald were 1 and 2. But I thought it was like a draft board. I thought they had 3 guys that they were really interested in. 1, 2, 3. McDonald, Johnson, and Quinn. And I don't know who I sent it to, but the day they hired Quinn at like 9:00, I text the Rooster. I was like, I don't know I don't have sources. You know what I'm saying? But I got a gut feeling. And based on this man leaving the day of them going to fly out to see Ben Johnson, he was getting on a plane at Reagan National. I felt like there was too much of a connection there for him to be out of the loop. So I felt it was going to be Dan Quinn. And then sure enough, at 11:30, 12 o'clock, the announcement comes out. And it was right before his show. So he texted me back. But I know he was big on Quinn as well. I just see him fitting. Like, if you watched the press conference yesterday, it was like 2 guys that were best friends sitting beside each other. Like, the only thing they didn't do yesterday, him and Peters, was like finish each other's sentences or ask for the last piece of food on his plate. Like, the synergy felt right. And I'm going to say it from that standpoint because we all know when you get in the real room and the bullets start flying, that things can change in life. Like, when they get serious and you get some animosity and you get some things going, things will change, things will happen. But I felt more confident watching that press conference. And then, of course, they said a word. They said one word, and I just got goosebumps. I was all, whew. He talked about having a physical fast, having an identity, having a way for you to recognize what a Commanders player is supposed to look like. And when he said that, B, I'm sorry, but if you ever seen Waterboy and that country coach that can't speak, and he over there, and I was loving it. I was super excited. I was like, yo, this is it. This is what I want to hear. I want to hear about a team talking about identity. I want to hear about a team saying we want to play fast. We haven't done that here in Washington. Even this squad here was not fast across the board. Our linebackers have been lacking. I feel like Jamin Davis, this might be his breakout year. Because he's going to be put in a system where he's only going to asked to do certain things, and he's going to be allowed to play fast. And I know I'm talking crazy because you watched Jamin Davis the last 2-3 years. But I watched a guy, if you remember me saying this, I've said this before about Jamin. He's a guy that's a sick'em kind of a guy. You can't tell him if can't give him Pythagorean theorem and expect him to play fast. He can't worry about A squared plus B squared equaling C squared. You just gotta tell him go get it. And I think one of the things that Dan Quinn will bring is he's going to bring a simpler all defense to the table, and these guys don't get to play a little bit faster. Even if you watch the last couple of weeks, even though they got throttled, if you watch the guys like Quan, I think it's Quan Martin, number 20, he flashed a whole lot those last 5 weeks when Ron was running the defense. And I think they simplified things. I think their biggest problem is they need a real linebacker. And I think they need a real edge guy. And they can get that. But I think this defense is going to play better as a whole just because they're not going to be asked to think as much. And the thing came out where, and this is my last point because I feel like I'm rambling, where Quan Martin, I know Butler, when they showed up, they were given 3 different books, three different playbooks. So you got a new guy learning 3 different playbooks at the same time. Of course, things don't get crossed up. Instead of making a guy good at one thing, letting them be great at that one thing, and then figuring out the options after. For some reason, Del Rio's thought process was, well, let them learn everything, and then we'll figure it out. And the problem I always had with that was we all know Del Rio's defenses never started the season fast. We always had to wait 6 to 8 weeks before they even was ready to go. And it helped them when we played bad quarterbacks. If we played a good quarterback, it was over. And so that's why I have hope. And then also, right now, I got to be where my feet are. I'm a Dan Quinn the hell out of this thing, boy. Being where your feet are. Because Ron said it. Ron ain't say it like Dan. They ain't said it different.
What we're not gonna do is there will be no Ron Rivera slander from here on out. So
I don't know about that one. Can't make no promises.
Watch yourself.
I can't make.
Watch yourself.
Even your boy said he wanted linebacker Ron, not this new Ron.
Well, you also got to realize this is a different.
The Ron that came here was like new Coke. This wasn't the Coke that had the cocaine.
Nobody's funny. Oh Lord. Duval Paul checking in. He's got to be familiar with the guys on offense because he's coached against them. So hopefully he can get into tap into their strengths. I hope so.
And one of the biggest things he talked about was the receiving core. I'm sorry, he was talking about the receiving core a lot in this presser.
A lot of people in the area have been, like, okay, why would we go get Dan Quinn? And so somebody put up a graphic. Basically, Alexa, play Second Time Around by Shalimar. The success of coaches on their second stop in the NFL. Bill Belichick is number one of all. His second stop was New England. The success he had in New England. Number 2, Don Shula. He had success in Baltimore, left Baltimore for Miami, became the all-time winningest coach, coached a perfect team. Mike Shanahan, first stop was with the Raiders, second stop with the Broncos. He won 2 Super Bowls. Andy Reid, Philly, KC. He's in the Super Bowl now, speaks for itself. Pete Carroll, New England, won a Super Bowl in Seattle. Tom Coughlin, Jacksonville, won a Super Bowl in New York. Marv Levy, coached Kansas City, went to 4 straight in Buffalo. Marty Schottenheimer, Marty was successful everywhere he went, so he was even successful here. Tony Dungy the same way. The aforementioned Sid Gilman, Weave Eubank, all these coaches had their second stop was probably their most successful, and I understand that and I get that. But every coach you named except for every coach's name on this list, and I'll post the list in our group. But every coach is named on this list is, except for Belichick, is not a coach and Belichick and Reed, not a coach that's coached in the last 10 years. Or I'll say 7 years, because Marty was in San Diego in 2014. So, but times are different. I do wish Dan Quinn all the success in the world, but I'm not going to sit there and say, well, history says this and expect history to repeat itself. And because this is his second stop, he automatically wins the Super Bowl in the next 2 to 5 years. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to set myself up like that because I, quite frankly, am tired of the fucking letdown. And I let myself down every time. But as well as letting myself down, my team and my organization let me down. That's why in my will, when I die, I told my wife to have 3 Redskins Commanders or 3 and 3 Chicago Bulls to lower my body into the ground so they can let me down one more time. I can't do it. I can't put myself in that headspace to say history is going to repeat itself. So we got to sit back and we got to watch this play out, and we got to see what happens. So moving on, Super Bowl media.
Did you have?
Huh?
Did Sid Luckman have a second stop? I missed that in the thing.
Yes, Sid Gilman did have a second stop.
Oh, okay. Just double checking, man. Okay.
Lombardi had a second stop too. So
I think the thing that everybody keeps bringing up 28-3, the 6 minutes and 59 seconds, and I think they're forgetting that his first 4 years they won at the average of 10 to 11 games. Like that happening here, he should be enshrined as he should have a bus outside of FedEx Field. I mean, it's ridiculous how bad it's been here. And maybe, I mean, we haven't had the same success that Buffalo's had recently. So the need and the want to win 10, 11 ball games is a little different.
Well, let me chime in on this. I feel, hold on. And I've said this for years.
Beat chomping at the bit. Let's see what he got.
I'm listening to KG, and I heard it for 20 years. This is what losing franchises do. If our fourth coach in history wears a size 13 shoe, we're damn near guaranteed to win 13 games. Look.
It's the shoes.
It's the shoes. Look, I hope he comes in here and can turn it around. I really do. I just don't personally. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think, like I said, if you have a choice and they say pick your first, second, and choice as a wife, first, second, third choice as a wife, you weren't your first choice. You don't want your third choice. Your third choice is if the first and second don't pan out. You don't want your third choice. The third choice is the cold, overdone steak.
That's not true. I mean, at divorce rates right now, you might want that third one because she might stay around.
Look, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But I'm just, while I wasn't shaking my head at KG, I'm shaking my head because I heard it for 20 years. I heard these same things for 20 years when Buffalo's getting their heads beaten by New England. I heard the same exact things. So, and you got it. The first thing that he has to, unfortunately, because Ron Rivera damn sure didn't do it, he has to come in and you, my friend, you said no Ron Rivera slander, but your favorite person in the world, Doug Williams, was taking an axe to Ron Rivera. Okay? He took an axe to that man. So he said, ain't no damn culture change happening here. So guess what Dan Quinn got to do all over again? He has to come in here and he has to change the culture.
Can we not use that word? Can we not? I mean, I'm sorry.
Two words.
What do we like? 2 words.
Because we've been saying it for a lot. What do we want to call it? He has to.
No.
Atmosphere.
It's just it's 2 words: culture and precision flex. Like I feel like if I hear it, it's like nails on a chalkboard. You know what I'm saying? It's like some lady in New Orleans is taking a pin to the voodoo doll that is my being and likeness, and she's just stabbing it right in the heart. Like I just don't want to hear culture and position flex for for a while. And this is part of my PTSD.
Yeah,
I'm gonna admit it.
and
You know what? If I could, if my camera worked right, I would lay down on this couch and like have a therapy session right now. Because the way my PTSD kick in when people say culture and position flex, I just
I completely understand. And you said something about Buffalo, and you talked about them, and it's just like that's where you have to give McDermott and Bean credit. You have to flip that culture to get these guys, because these guys they think they're losers. Nothing goes right on the field. They can't win anything. They're getting their heads smashed in by the better teams. Like you said something earlier about playing bad quarterbacks. You better play good against bad quarterbacks. I mean, what do we,
right.
Except if your name is Jones, Daniel Jones in New York, then you have a 300-yard passing, 200-yard rushing, and 6 touchdowns against the Commanders. But, unfortunately, that word has to come back in. You have to get these guys on the other side of the coin to believe that they can win. And that, you have to figure out what are you going to do with an underachieving receiving core? How are you going to fix that? How are you going to fix Emmanuel Forbes? How are you going to get the Alabama game to ride together? How are you going to fix these things? You have some pieces. So, we'll see if Dan Quinn's the guy. I hope he proves me wrong.
Well, he used the best word he used is recalibrate, and then we're finding our new north. We gotta find our north, wherever our north is, and like you don't get to your new north until you got to shed some things.
Yep, absolutely.
So this caterpillar that is the Washington Commanders, they're gonna have to go into that cocoon and shed some things before they come out. Some of that's gonna be some old linebackers, some of that's gonna be some defensive linemen, some that's going to be definitely some offensive linemen. You're going to definitely get rid of a couple of your tight ends.
It might be.
I feel like if they don't turn over, I'll say this at a minimum, I think they're going to turn over at least 25 to 30% of this roster.
I agree with that. They have to.
And I think there's going to be some small. I think the guys that are going to get the best, and I'm holding out hope that. Dallas doesn't offer Al Harris their defensive coordinator job, and we can bring him in as our secondary coach, because I want that triumvirate of Quinn as the head coach, Witt as the D coordinator, and Harris teaching these DBs, because we need somebody to get these guys right.
All right. And BJ, I agree with you wholeheartedly. After hearing stuff like that for 20 years, that's what I was saying. I don't want to hear it anymore because of what history said. I don't want to hear that. I agree with you 1,000%. Now, Super Bowl media, I think one of the biggest things to come out of the Super Bowl media scrum this week, outside of who was it? Was it New York Post or whatever, giving Jason Kelce the props for creating the fade haircut, and I'm like,
Travis.
Yeah, before I knew what a Travis Kelce. But before I knew what a Travis Kelce was, I had a fade. I had a fade all through high school. I had a high top fade when I was younger because I was trying to be like Kid and Play. So I don't understand this. And he downplayed that. And he was like, yeah, don't give me that credit. I love how he stepped in and was like, let me fix this.
Well, I mean,
and he gave a shout out to his barber too.
We live in a world where, as much as people talk about integration, there's a high level of segregation. And there's a couple of places where this country or this world is always segregated. One is in church. One is at their parties. And the third is in their barbershop. And our culture, our barbershop culture does not translate over into their world. You don't go in the give me a barbershop, give me a barber place for them. Supercuts. You ain't going to Supercuts and asking for a fade. Because if you know the world the way you're supposed to, where you going? You going across, because if it's a small town, you're going across the railroad tracks and going to the spot, and you get you a fade. And I think it's so funny how they try to give credit, but they've been doing this since the world started. You can't come over and discover a country with people that are natives of the country. It's what they do. They try to take what is it? It was something else they tried to take. It wasn't a fade. It was something else. And they're like, oh my God.
Swag surfing.
Like, huh?
It was swag surfing.
Yeah.
They tried to say Taylor Swift started swag surfing.
Like, new dance. Then you see, like, I don't know if you pay attention to like TikTok and all that stuff, but you see like the white sororities doing the line dance joint where they all in the line and they doing the same dance. It's like, yo, like, tell me you want to steal from me without telling me you want to steal from me. All right, that's my soapbox. These comments brought to you by the Midnight Rider. They only reflect the thoughts of the Midnight Rider. Anything said does not reflect the Sideline Junkies as a whole. It's only a representation of the Midnight Rider and his thoughts. My bad.
I'm not even going to piggyback off that. I'm going to go ahead and leave it alone. Something else that came out, I think it either came out today or yesterday, but Kadarius Toney swears he's the number one receiver. Do you gentlemen agree that he's the number one receiver on any team?
I'm not even going to say the remark I was about to make. No, I mean, he's proven it and he's shown it. I mean, he's got no hands. And I love the guy. I spent last year bragging about him being with Andy Reid and having the chance to make something special happen. He had the kick return in the Super Bowl, and I think he had one touchdown in the game. But Kadarius Toney just doesn't understand that you got to be consistent to be a number one. I mean, you actually have to play to be a number one. You have to show up to be a number one.
I don't get it, man.
Okay.
I don't get it. I don't get where the humbleness is. They set you out a playoff game basically because they didn't want you there.
Right.
So it's just like you have a chance to redeem yourself on the biggest stage, and instead of saying that, just be like something humble. Be like, I got to go out there and prove I'm a number one receiver. I know I am, but I got to prove it to my teammates. I'm going to get out here. I'm going to practice hard. We're going to get ready for this Super Bowl, and I'm going to put it all out on the field. What's so hard about that? Because we watch all season drop after drop after drop. So, like, I don't know. He got his Super Bowl. He got a Super Bowl ring, right?
Yeah, got last year.
He got a Super Bowl, and he going to get his free agent walking papers, too, because they're going to be done with – they're done with him. They're done with him. Patrick Mahomes can mold another Kadarius Toney. It's not that serious for them. They can find something else. If he can do that work with that group of receivers, which I think is a C group of receivers, and if they hit something on free agency, it's lights out. He can go play in Chicago and run around on the field all day and get cardio.
I never thought the cat was a number one overall receiver. I mean, like, we seen what happened during the season with the drops in Kansas City, so he was a part of that problem, along with what's his name, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who was normally short-handed, but it was just they had the yips.
You ain't gotta say his name right. If you drop passes, that mean passes. You don't deserve your name to be said correctly.
Okay.
And then the Super Bowl media, I don't know if you guys saw it, but they did this dope thing. They've had this kid, I think, at least the last 2 years, if not the last 3 years. Kid named Jeremiah Fennell, 11-year-old. NFL Network gave him prime time yesterday. He interviewed Kelsey. He interviewed Mahomes. When he interviewed Mahomes, they did like a KGU like this. They did like an all-time pick of offensive, defensive players that played in the Super Bowl. But Mahomes couldn't use any Chiefs. He kind of went along because it didn't look like they set it up right. they didn't tee it up enough to give them enough heads up to have some other options. And then he talked with Kelsey, and it was something he did with Kelsey, and he lost his train of thought. And like Kelsey was just so good at like just keeping them going and like keeping the conversation going. But the kid's gonna be, I mean, as long as he can stay the right path, the kid has a future as a broadcaster. Like his third question to Kelsey, like when he asked the question, I was like, yo. Now I know, probably somebody wrote it. He probably got some writers or he got somebody feeding him because he had the earpiece in. But yeah, his questions were off the hook. Like legit, like journalistic, not like some prop type of thing. If you get a chance, go back. I think he has like 3 or 4 interviews with NFL Network. 11-year-old Jeremiah Fennell. Last name is Fennell.
Make sure I check that out. The Giants got a new defensive coordinator. We talking about hiring coaches. Shane Bowen from the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
This would be your forte. What can you tell me about him?
More than likely, he's going to be a 4-3 kind of a guy, where he mimics some of the stuff they did in Tennessee, or they're going to be a 3-4 where you have your edges on the line of scrimmage. So yes, they consider themselves edge rushers, but it becomes a hybrid where your 2 outside linebackers are your edge rushers, your 2 tackles, and then you have the 2 linebackers in the middle, and then you probably have that 5th DB coming in. It's probably a little bit. He's probably that guy that's like about 220, 225. That's a cross. He may not cover well, and you throw him into the box. So that's what you're going to see in this situation with them.
BJ, I got a question for you. It just popped in my head. We've been talking about defense so heavy on this show. Now, granted, it's not live physical action, but it was something you used to do, and I would love to know what it is because it's the way you used to arrange your defense when you would blitz. But you would come out in like a 4-3, but then you would arrange your defense into something else.
It's just about perception, I think. It's just like I want you to, we're a 4-3 team. And we talked about this a couple seasons ago when, I was going on Del Rio. It's just about coming out in different looks, having people in different places, getting a different angle on people, overloading one side or pretending like you're overloading one side and they shift to that side only for all of those people to go out in coverage and one person comes scot-free. It's just about disguise. It's about, coming in there as a UPS driver and then you take yourself off and you're an assassin. You got your package and I done blew your head off. Enjoy your Amazon package. I'm going home. And then when you take your UPS uniform off, you got your assassin suit on, you do your assassination, you leave as a McDonald's worker. And a blink camera in the scene, a UPS man come in, you gotta put your assassin suit on to do your job, and a McDonald's worker leaving. Then nobody knows what's going on. And I think that's all about defense. Sometimes you can just run your normal stuff, your basic stuff. It just depends on who you playing. Like I'm not dialing that up against Baker Mayfield. I'm not trying to shit on Baker. I'm dialing up my disguises, my whole Rolodex against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. It's certain. I'm not doing that for Sam Howell. I'm not. I'm like y'all. Look, y'all go out with 9 people. Y'all get to them. Cool. Just have one person back. We're playing like parking lot football. Just have one person back in safety. Y'all come around. Y'all dance and do something. But it's just certain things. It depends on who you playing and how complex you want your. Like if you playing me, and I know we're talking about a game right now, but if you're playing me, you know how I play on offense, what you gotta look out for. So once you start playing me, you know what you want to do. Now I gotta come out with more wrinkles, right? It's the same thing when you playing more advanced opponents, you gotta come out with more wrinkles, more disguises. You gotta move people around. You got to find weaknesses in the armor. That's what it's all about. Every team has a weakness, and the better your coordinators is, the better your coaches. Ask Andy Reid. Just look at Andy Reid, what he did in the playoffs. We'll find your weakness, and it might not be a pretty win, but we're gonna get it. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about, man.
Now,
True that.
I asked that question for a specific reason. Because one thing I will say when it comes to defense, Big Jim and BJ, I'm in love with their philosophy. I just can't execute it the way they do, but I'm in love with their philosophy. When it comes to basketball strategies, Midnight Rider, I'm in love with your philosophy. If you ask me to go out there and coach these philosophies, I'm not going to be able to do it because I have my own. You know, I'm basketball court, I'm inside out, you know. Y'all are heavy blitz on defense. So, you know, I wanted to get your thought on that because.
But you can't, if my philosophy is heavy blitz and I go take over a team that I can't blitz with, then I got to change that philosophy.
Right.
I can't force that philosophy on players that don't blitz well. I might have a team that is a zone team. They cover well, might do some zone blitzing. You know what I'm saying? Or you might have a team where you don't blitz because your four up front are that nasty. Or you got one guy like Aaron Donald on the Rams. You got one guy that disrupts everything. And you get away with a lot of stuff. You can open up a lot of things because he's getting double and triple team. It opens up a lot of guys. But that's what I keep saying. You cannot force your philosophy on a roster that will not perform that. You have to figure out what that roster is constructed for. And that's what we just talked about, this defensive coordinator going to the Giants, and we talked about Dan Quinn. He can't do what he did in Dallas. You know why? Because he don't have Michael Parsons.
That's exactly. You don't have an MPP.
You don't have that guy.
You don't.
And Midnight
But
Rider,
you have something else to be creative with. Like that's my biggest thing, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I love the possibilities because what did Mike Tomlin said, I love it when coaches resist the urge to coach. And it's like, yo, yeah, he may not be able to learn something, but you gotta make it so he can learn it.
Yep.
And I don't mean to speak in a whole bunch of platitudes tonight because and a lot of coach speak, but it's like when I look at the possibilities with Dan Quinn, I see a Jamin Davis, a guy that can be dynamic. I see a guy in Quan Martin and maybe even Cam Curl. With Cam Curl last year played corner, nickel, linebacker, middle linebacker, safety, deep safety. How you expect this man to play fast? You know what I'm saying? Like there's little simplistic things, and for me as a guy that I coached for a little bit, but like I don't like slowing guys down. I don't like bogging people down with information, and I think that's where my thing for Quinn is. I feel like Quinn, and he said it, he wants them to play fast and physical, and you can't play fast and physical with them thinking them through Pythagorean theorem on defense. And that's just my whole thought process.
I agree 100%. Some guys, you just, and that's you have your guy on the field, and I always make Buffalo references because that's my squad. You have your Matt Milano on the field that knows the X's and O's, knows where everybody's supposed to be, and then you might have a guy on the field that is just a missile, and all you got to tell him is like, look, if he moves this way, you go that way. All right. If he shifts this way, you go that way. And you have some guys like that. You don't have all these Albert Einstein. It's football. It's fucking football. Sometimes you just gotta be like, if it goes this way, you go this way. You run through this gap. You run through that guy right there. 76, not the A gap or the B gap. You see 76 right there. If 76 turn his hips that way, you run right past his ass. If they do this, you go that way. And that's how you have to coach some guys. You can't sit the Al Saunders 9,000 playbook in front of them and be like, look, remember on page 53, paragraph 6, bullet point 3. Remember what we do. If you tie your shoes this way, We're not blitzing. But if the clock is on the even side, we're going to blitz. But if it's even and the play clock is odd, it's halftime.
Dude, you know what you just talked about? The greatest fictitious linebacker of all time, Alvin Mack.
Oh my goodness!
When he does that training session, that tells you everything. And I swear, the biggest travesty in Washington football history is the way they coach LeVar Aronson.
Yeah.
But now we're at a point where you got some guys, and hopefully they figure it out. And the one thing I'm gonna be happy for is the fact that we actually get a real middle linebacker. And I don't know if I sent it to you guys, but there's a guy I got an eye on. I've already started my free agency scouting. I'm gonna get into more of it tonight, but I just looked at linebackers, and there's a guy. Played under, I think he played under Quinn, and then he went to Tennessee. I got to double check some of my background, but there's a guy that's my guy early on preseason. If it happens, y'all know that was my guy. Go ahead, man. Let's get off of this Giants DC. What we got next?
Yeah, we got to run through because we at 56, baby. We running.
Yeah. Embiid out for 4 weeks. He had a procedure done on the knee. Torn meniscus, slightly tears, a flap in the meniscus. I didn't know the meniscus had a flap, so you learn something every day. So he'll be evaluated after 4 weeks. So what does this mean for the 76ers, fellas?
I think you either go out at the deadline and try to acquire another scorer or somebody that can help you out. This could be a place where a guy like a Kyle Kuzma, where you get some more help on the wing, or you just got to hope that, what's his name? Tobias Harris actually steps up and plays like a guy that makes $20 million a year. It's one of the two.
Oh.
I mean, he had a good stretch, but I mean, it's got to be more consistent.
You see my face right now?
What?
Today's Embiid.
Always
Tobias Harris. No, and I'm dead serious. I mean, this isn't even a shot at him. This is his spot to shine. He had like a 2-week stretch where he averaged like 22, 23 points a night. But this is what he's here for, because now he goes from being the fourth option and getting bailout jump shots to actually getting shots within the realm of the offense.
Yep.
There's a saying like it's tough when you're a shooter and somebody's always throwing you a live grenade. And when we talk about live grenades, for those that don't know, live grenade is when the shot clock's at 3 or 2, and the only option you have is to shoot. You may not be in position to shoot. You may have ran out, spotted up, and looked good for 5 seconds, and then you get the ball at 2, and now you got to throw up this rush shot. And I feel like that was his problem. At times, he gets the grenade option. And all you want from him now is he gets 2 options. Mm-hmm. He gets the second option. If Maxey can't get his, it's going to him. And even Kelly Oubre's played well this year. Oubre's hit them off with 3, 4, 5, 6 threes a night, some nights. So it's just options. And maybe they don't go with Kuzma because they try to expand Oubre's role. But I think their goal is stay in the top 6, hopefully, and ride this till the wheels fall off. And then hopefully you get an Embiid back that's healthy, ready for the playoff run, and you surprise somebody from the 6-7 spot and win ball games that you're not supposed to win.
Yep.
Maybe you go down 3-1 to the Bucks, and then Doc Rivers lets you win 4-3 game 7 at home.
Look, if your team is, it's a big blow for the 76ers. Embiid is MVP, right? But yeah. I wouldn't go get anybody. This is when I always say this is when you can learn your team. This is when guys that, like the Midnight Riders, say, now it's time for Tobias Harris to step up, Kelly Oubre, and guess what? This can make this unit tighter. Then you get Embiid back. Maybe they're playing so well, he can take another 2 weeks off and you get 100% Embiid back. Maybe you got to fight in the play-in. Who wants to play the 76ers at full strength in the play-in?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then you got an 8th seed 76ers team playing number 1 seed. It's a recipe because you know that number 1 seed is looking for an easy first round walkthrough. Now you got to play the full strength Embiid led 76ers, and it's going to be a dogfight. They're probably going to come out of it with a W. Let those guys run. Let Maxey and those guys run. Let them get the second and the third unit kind of down pat. Let them solidify that so that way when Embiid does come back, the first unit's good. Now you got a way stronger second unit because they played way more time now. Just let them play. That's what I say. Just let them play. Don't make any panic decisions where you got to get rid of some of your core players to go get Kyle Kuzma. As good and as Kyle Kuzma can be, he can be just as bad sometimes. So, you know, is that pressure good for Kuzma? Is he a Bradley Beal guy where he just, hey, I'm good here. We losing. I get my money. I get to come in. These are outrageous outfits. I don't really want the pressure of winning. That's a whole different gun. Like, nah, we win here. Now we come to practice at 5 a.m. here, and we win. We expected to win. Not you get to practice when you want to, have a latte. You know, you get your feet rubbed by the coach. You know, or you sitting on he on his hands and knees. You sitting on his back. You know, talking to him about his kids and stuff. And you know, two different organizations.
Here's a thought. You do have Kenneth Lofton Jr. on a 2-way contract. I think this is your time that if you can, with that roster spot for the next 4 weeks, let him get in there and get in the paint and get dirty. Because the one thing he can do, he can get down and he can bang with him. He gonna give you 10 and 10. He has the ability to give you 10 and 10. I'm not gonna call him a 20 and 10 man. I'm not gonna call him a 20 and 20, but he can give you 10 and 10. And then you got the legend, the 7-foot legend that got hoes. Calling young nigga phone. Y'all don't know about Mo Bamba? Okay. They just looking at me like I'm fucking crazy. They never listened to Mo Bamba before. Okay. Y'all ain't never listened to Shaq West?
I forgot why you bringing up Mo Bamba, but okay. Yeah, all right. Mo
7-footer.
Bamba.
That's the only other 7-footer they got on the team.
Okay.
He's a body.
That's it.
And that's all
He's
he
a
is.
body.
That's it.
Damn, they just looked at me like I was crazy.
No, I knew the song.
All right.
I was just trying to figure out why you was hyping up Mo Bamba.
Mo Bamba is
Because it's Mo Bamba.
Mo Bamba is the Simpsons clip where he come in the bar, put his hat on, turn back around, put his hat back on, and leave.
Right.
Thank you, sir. You got your
man.
out. Get out.
Last but not least, NBA trades that you would like to see on Thursday, because we will be here on Thursday talking NBA trade deadline with Perry. And we really got to get into that because if certain things don't happen on Thursday, I'm going to be super pissed. But I'll let you gentlemen start first. Start with the boss, BJ.
No, because you're going to be super pissed. Let's start with the super pissed.
Fire away.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to be super pissed if Chicago doesn't move Zach LaVine.
He's hurt.
Hey, Steven Adams hurt too, but they moved him.
He light-skinned. Oh, my bad.
Oh, he had season-ending surgery.
Nah.
I
don't think that's bad. Go ahead, keep going. Name other players that you want to see move.
Well, I'm a player that I don't want to see moved, and I'm speaking on Chicago. If Chicago moves Alex Caruso, because what's on the docket is Alex Caruso to Toronto, I believe, for OG Anunoby and a boatload of picks and some other stuff. And it's like, oh, we're really blown away by it. If you're blown away by that, I need you to get your head out of your ass.
Yeah, Zach LaVine out for the season. He done.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so OG's in Toronto. I mean, not in Toronto. He's in the Knicks.
He's with the Knicks
OG already.
Well, they said when they were talking about him coming from, well, they had Toronto in the thing. So I was like, damn, okay, well, maybe it's a three-team trade. But if they move Caruso for anybody, I'm gonna be pissed. I really would love to get rid of Zach LaVine. Somebody, hey, look, take him. Do what you want with him. Just get him the fuck out of Chicago.
They said Zach heard that he was getting traded to Detroit. and get,
Yeah.
and
He said, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and get the surgery.
I think what is it? I think the kid Killian Hayes from Detroit, the 9th pick of the draft. I think it was 2 years ago. I know they're talking about he's got to go. They want to move him. I don't know where Utah is in the standings, but a guy like a Jordan Clarkson is somebody that would move this time of year. The kid on the Clippers, Bones Highland, who a couple years ago played well for Denver, but Denver moved off of him because they had other options and he had a little attitude problem at times. Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones for the Wizards is another guy that I think is going to get moved. I think if the Wizards can get what they want, Kyle Kuzma gets moved. DeLon Wright is another guy that gets moved for the Wizards. Burritos. Daniel Gafford is a guy that might get moved, depending on what you can get for him. Going across, anybody not named LeBron and AD for the Lakers could get moved, especially D'Angelo Russell. They've talked about moving Russell for a minute. I think the sudden good play of Jason Kuminga. I think Kuminga may have played himself into a position where he's got to stay and that Golden State won't move him. The man with the greatest nickname that we won't say on air.
Not again.
I'm trying to think of anybody else off the top of my head. DeRozan and Caruso have been talked about widely.
Yeah. DeRozan's another one. Him, Dosamu. If it's certain players that you should not move. Andre Drummond is another one. I don't really want to move him. He's had a resurgence this season. The cat had in like 3 games, he had like almost 100 rebounds in 3 games. In one of those games, he had like 31.
And what did he have?
Like
out of 3 games, what did he have? Like 4 points?
No, it was double nights.
Oh, okay.
Who was it that Barkley was like, you could lock the gym, you could put him in the gym at 8 p.m., lock the doors, and come get him at 8 a.m. And if you didn't allow him to score off alley-oops, you'd come back and he'd only have 6 points.
I don't
DeAndre Jordan.
If he didn't catch alley-oops, he'd have 6 points if you left him in that gym for 12 hours.
Oh, man. Look, the only name I'm interested in is going to be 2 or 3 seasons too late is Klay Thompson. If Golden State can unload Klay Thompson, I think it's the only chance they have to salvage their season. I ain't saying make a championship. I'm just saying being somewhat on the floor because they're just Klay is terrible, and it's always a suitor. It's always somebody, a GM somewhere that needs to scratch somebody's back or owe them a favor or something. But it's time for Golden State and Klay Thompson to part ways. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'll be looking for that to see if that happens Thursday.
I think it's time for them to part ways with Draymond as well.
I said that in the last show.
I think it's Wiggins. I think the guy that's the odd man out is Wiggins.
That's your young. You can't keep unloading your young talent though.
Wiggins ain't been right since that whole hiatus. So I mean, he can at least bring you back something of quality. Because I think Kuminga stays. I think
he definitely does.
I just don't think, as a GM, unless Klay Thompson's on the last year, whatever his deal is, and I can just let it burn and get salary cap space, I'm not acquiring Klay Thompson. Like we've seen this record. We've seen it happen. You know, he's on his last leg. I mean, we've come to the end of the road. Somebody key up Wanye.
I'm not even going to do that.
Hear his contract.
Yeah,
Klay is. So that's what I'm saying. You trying to unload some stuff. You willing to take him on for the remainder of the season. He's done though.
Right.
He's put a fork in Klay Thompson. You know, if he continues his career after this season, it will be a glorified bench player. That's what it'd be. And then
Done.
maybe, you know, he can resurrect his career and be on the top 75 NBA players of all time like he think he should be.
Done.
So if he got 1 year left and he's done, does he get a farewell tour?
For what? Look, KG, you gotta stop bringing back this '90s stuff where guys got fair. If we giving Klay Thompson a farewell tour, we got problems.
I'm actually joking here.
I know you are, but I'm just saying.
Udonis Haslem got his jersey retired, so
that's. I mean, Miami retired MJ's number, so
I was gonna say something very vulgar about that, but I'll put that in my pocket.
there we go. Even a PG-13 show.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that.
Oh Lord. Well, we come to that part of the show. It's time to wrap that shit up, B. Sticking with the NBA real quick. I don't know. I gotta see what happened because remember Tony Snell was trying to sign with a team by the end of the week last week to qualify for premium insurance in the NBA.
Oh man,
I think we were on different sides of the aisle on this one. So,
his story is sad because I think he has two sons that are autistic. I think he's on the spectrum. So from I don't even know how to say it the right way, but from a personal story to try to make things right for a person, I can understand it. I just don't know if teams have the space to take that on and to be responsible for that. If anything, maybe the league does what they did a couple years ago. The kid with the heart issue that went to Baylor that came out and the NBA drafted him with like the 31st pick of the first round, so they could try to help him take care of some stuff and take care of some business. So maybe you can get something like that. Maybe you get the NBA to sign this kid or the PA to sign the kid and help him with his family situation.
You know when you go to 7-Eleven and you got the guy there opening the door for you, ready for some change. This is Tony Snell. Okay, if he was good enough to be in the league, nothing personal. If he was good enough to be in the league and on a team, he'd be on a team. And I agree with the Midnight Rider. It's going to have to be some type of thing the NBA does for him, shoots him something, or just qualifies him. You know what I'm saying? And give it that. But we're talking about you're basically begging to take food out of somebody else's mouth. That's what you're doing. And I have an issue with that. If you were good enough and you earned it, you would have it. But if you go look on those G League rosters, he's not even top 20. So what are we talking about with Tony Snell? Nothing. Nothing personal. We're talking about business. We're talking about the boss, BJ, as a GM. I'm not even looking that way. I got other problems. I'm trying to figure out how to get Zach LaVine to Detroit. You know, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out if I can get something to add to the Lakers to get this season turned around a little bit. You know, I'm trying to figure out if I'm the Clippers, I'm trying to figure out, do I need anything or are we good to go and make this run? I'm not worried about Tony Snell trying to get health insurance.
Right.
Well, I'm on the other side of the fence. I'm like, sign them to I think he didn't even have to play out the season. You give him 2 10-day contracts and let him go on about his business. But this is through the union. This is not taking any money out of anybody's pocket. It's not hurting any other player. It's not hurting anybody else's family. It's the same thing you would do if you had to be vested in the union, but you needed to work till the end of the week. That's all you need to do. Whatever trade you're in, and you got a union, you need to work to the end of the week. And then, you're good. You got your benefits secured. It's not taking any money out of anybody. You pay dues to the union for a reason.
How's it not taking any money from anybody? He has to take a roster spot.
Right.
Somebody has.
What's a 10-day contract?
I don't know, but
what is
I
a
mean,
10-day
now
contract?
you're getting to now you get into the of it because maybe a 10-day contract doesn't qualify him to get the full 10th year service. So it's like he probably has to stay on the roster for a certain amount of time to qualify.
Probably maybe to the end of the season. I see what you're saying when you say that.
If that was your son on the 12, 13 spot, and he just need a chance, and they cut him, so Tony Snell, and he's not going to play a minute the rest of the season, he could get health insurance. You'd be pissed off. Now your son like, Dad, I gotta go overseas and play. I'm trying to find. I don't have no money to pay this. Or, now your son out the league. That might have been the night he got on the court and showed his ass off, and teams around the league like, hey, who is that kid? Who's that kid? He don't get that chance now. Ask some of the guys that's nowhere near that played 2 or 3 years in the league. They're nowhere near this. I would say some other personal things, but I showed y'all, the TikTok. So that's all I'm gonna say.
So breaking WNBA news. This probably happened a couple days ago, probably 6 days ago. It looks like the Connecticut Sun have acquired Tiffany Mitchell in the 19th pick in the 2024 WNBA draft from the Minnesota Lynx in exchange for Natasha Houghton. Don't everybody react at once.
No, I have.
You won't get me canceled.
That's what we didn't talk about, Michael Porter, but we can talk about that another day.
Yeah, because
we probably pull that up on Thursday.
I talked about it by the time I get back on, so I had to listen to that.
Now, I'm not gonna lose content.
Well, we are at the end of the show. You see the ticket scrolling at the bottom. www.buyformosay.com/discount/maniacs. That is our discount code. Get $10 off any purchase. And if you buy over $130 worth of stuff, you get free shipping. So make sure you hit Fort Mose 1738 up, please.
And don't forget, Trash Can Boy, aka the Buzzer, Jose Altuve, got a 5-year, $125 million extension from the Houston Astros. And they said the negotiations were very loud because they would hit the trash can the number of times for the amount of money he wanted.
Damn. Okay.
I love it.
Oh,
I love it.
Just that one. I'm sorry.
Hey, make sure y'all stay tuned for the Sideline Junkies backstage.
Was Bob Barker say, don't forget to spay and neuter your pets?
Don't forget.
Yeah.
Slide your credit card now, that is.
For the Midnight Rider, that's that side. For the Midnight Rider, the boss BJ, I'm the big guy KG. You know the motto, baby. We don't do no overtime. We are out of here.
Peace.
Oh, boy.